The morning sun rose behind the curved walls of Serrano's station. Its light found its way through glass windows, glinting off metal girders. A soft hum filled the air. It came from power cores and life support systems that kept the station alive. In orbit above a world the aliens called Varela. In the floating arena, cadets gathered for their daily drills. Varia stood on a raised platform, her silver armor catching the sunlight. Her long hair fell in waves behind her. The tips of her fingers brushed the edge of her spear. She looked down at the recruits with a cold smile. At the far end of the arena, a human soldier walked forward. His name was Jack Miller. He wore a light suit that matched the uniforms of the other cadets. His face was calm. He did not hurry. He did not rush. Many cadets whispered about his slow pace. Varia tilted her head. Her dark eyes followed Jack's steps. She whispered to one of her fellow warriors, and the alien laughed. It was a high-pitched sound that echoed in the metal walls. The cadet next to Jack slowed down to stare. They saw Jack's steady breathing and the way he held his hand near his side. Varia raised her voice so every cadet could hear. "Look, the slow human dares to join us again," she mocked. "Can Earth's weaklings even keep up with real warriors?" A few cadets smiled or snickered. Jack took a deep breath. He closed his eyes for a second and then opened them. He did not answer. He stepped into the center of the arena. The trainer, an older warrior with scars across his cheek, cleared his throat. He held a small device in his hand. "Today's challenge is the arrow dodge," he said. His voice was firm. "Each cadet must stand blindfolded and dodge 12 plasma arrows. They will fire in quick succession. No one has ever done this without armor. Now show us your courage." Varia's lips curved in a grin. She knew the aliens would win. Humans were fragile compared to them. Her spear felt heavy in her hand. She liked to watch others fail. One by one, the cadets stepped forward. They wore light blindfolds. The arrows shot from hidden turrets. The first few cadets ducked and stumbled. One fell to her knee. Another screamed and ran away. Each failure made the crowd laugh. Jack waited at the edge. He touched the blindfold tucked at his belt. Varia's voice cut through the noise. "You should stay safe, human. You will only shame yourself." Jack did not react. He picked up the blindfold and tied it over his eyes. He moved slowly to the center. No one guided him. He let his body feel the ground. He felt the breeze and the sound of coils charging. Varia watched him. She whispered to another warrior. "He looks scared now. Wait till the first arrow comes." The trainer raised his device. He counted down. 3, 2, 1. He pressed a button. A faint click echoed. Then silence. After a moment, a line of light formed in midair. It drew near Jack's head. He stood still. The arrow whizzed past his ear. Jack tilted his head at the last second. The crowd let out a gasp. The second arrow fired. Jack heard the before it came. He shifted his weight. His right foot slid forward. He bent his knees. The arrow shot past his chest. He did not flinch. Only his hair stirred. Varia frowned. She whispered, "Impossible." The third arrow aimed at his left shoulder. Jack reached out with his arm. He felt the rush of hot air as the arrow flew by. He stepped back before it struck him. He heard a faint hiss as it hit the wall. Light flashed behind Jack. The arena glowed soft blue. He counted the arrows in his mind. 1, 2, 3. The fourth arrow came faster. His heart beat in rhythm with the arrow's hum. He moved like a dancer. He twisted his body and the arrow passed under his arm. His feet slipped on the smooth floor. But he recovered. The crowd started to fall silent. They watched in disbelief. Even the trainer paused. Varia clenched her spear. She watched Jack's every move. Her mind raced. She could not understand how he dodged so well. The fifth arrow burst toward his midsection. Jack heard its cry. He jumped to the side. He landed on one foot and then on the other. He felt the air cool when the arrow passed by. He stood tall. He breathed in deeply. He felt calm. His senses reached out. He heard the hum in the distance. He smelled ozone from the arrow's energy. Varia's mocking turned to silence. She stared at Jack. Her arm muscles tightened. The sixth arrow fired. This time, Jack did not move before it left the turret. He heard a click behind him. He turned at the last second and saw the arrow flash past his shoulder. He felt the wind of its passage. The seventh arrow came almost immediately. Jack ducked. He felt the station's slight gravity pull him down. He rolled on the floor and rose again. His blindfold stayed in place. The eighth arrow aimed at his head. Jack froze. He waited. He heard the soft wind as it came. He bent backward. It missed him by inches. The ninth arrow sped closer. Jack stood firm. He raised his head. He felt a drop of sweat on his forehead. He breathed slowly. He stepped left. The arrow flew by. Varia watched him like she watched a rare flower bloom. She blinked. She had never seen anything like this. The 10th arrow fired. Jack tilted his torso. He hopped to the side. He heard a sharp whistle as it passed. The crowd was quiet now. Even the jokes in the back stopped. They waited. The 11th arrow arrived. Jack felt his muscles tense. He jumped back once more. He balanced himself. The arrow sang past his elbow. One arrow remained. The trainer held his device. He looked at Jack. He looked at the empty turrets. He pressed the button. The final arrow shot out. Jack heard its launch. He turned and twisted in midair. He landed on both feet. The arrow swept beneath him. He felt its heat brush his ankle. He held his ground. For a long moment no one moved. The only sound was Jack's breathing. Varia walked into the arena. She knelt before him. She removed his blindfold. Jack blinked. He let his eyes adjust. Varia spoke in a low voice. "You are not weak." She looked into his eyes. "I was wrong," Jack nodded. He wiped sweat from his brow. He bowed his head to Varia in respect. Then he turned and faced the cadets. Varia stood and addressed everyone. "Today you have seen true skill and courage. Remember what you saw." Her voice held pride. The cadets cheered. They stepped forward to clap Jack on the back. They asked him how he did it. Jack smiled. He said, "Listen to your body and trust your senses." Varia watched him. She felt something new. Respect for humanity. She helped Jack to his feet. Above the floating arena, Serrano Station shone in the light. A new day had begun. Jack Miller returned to his quarters after the arena trial. His body felt tired, but his mind was sharp. He washed off the sweat and grime from the test. The water was cool on his skin. He thought about what had happened. He had proven himself today. He had shown the aliens that humans had hidden strength. Varia waited outside the door. She stood tall in her silver armor, the same armor she had worn in the trial. Her eyes met Jack's. She bowed her head once. He wiped his face and smiled. "You did well," she said softly. "I would like to learn your methods." Jack nodded. He gestured for her to enter. Inside, the room was simple. A bed, a desk, and a few chairs. The walls were bare. Jack sat on the edge of the bed. Varia took a seat across from him. "I still do not know how you did it," she said. "Humans are slow." "Why could you dodge every arrow?" Jack looked at her calmly. "It is not about speed," he said. "It is about focus. I trained my mind to feel the arrow's movement. I learned to trust my other senses when I cannot see." Varia leaned forward. "Tell me more," she urged. Jack stood and moved to the desk. He unrolled a small mat and placed it on the table. On the mat, he had drawn 4 circles with lines between them. "This is a simple drill," he explained. "Back on Earth, soldiers would practice with a blindfold and a staff. We would swing slowly, learn the arc of the staff. We did this until our body remembered the path." He picked up an imaginary staff and swung it gently. "Then we added more speed, more drills. Our body learns to move without the mind thinking. You call it muscle memory." Varia watched his movements. "So you practiced with weapons?" she asked. "Yes, and without weapons," Jack said. "We learn to sense, we listen for movement, we feel the air. We breathe with control. It takes time, but it works." Varia's brow furrowed. "Time is short for warriors here," she said. "We train for years to master a weapon." "You learned this so fast." She rose and walked to the small window. She looked out at the station's ring. "We humans face many threats on Earth," Jack said. "We must adapt quickly." Our training is intense and varied. We learn to survive. Varia turned back. Will you teach me? She asked. Jack nodded. I will, but first you must understand the basics. He moved back to the desk. He drew a square on the mat. Stand here, he said, pointing to a corner of the square. Close your eyes, breathe, notice your heartbeat, notice the air on your skin. Then move to the opposite corner. No blindfold yet, just move on your own. Learn your space? Varia raised an eyebrow, but she did as he asked. They practiced for hours. Varia walked slowly across the mat. She closed her eyes and felt the floor. She reached the opposite corner without hesitation. Jack nodded with approval. Good, he said. Now repeat this 10 times without speaking. Varia repeated the drill. Each time she grew more confident. By midday, Varia's armor was scuffed. She let Jack remove it. She wore light training clothes. She felt exposed, but she trusted Jack. They paused for a meal in the mess hall. The table was filled with alien dishes. Jack ate simply, some protein paste and steamed vegetables. Varia hesitated, then tried the paste. She found it bland. Jack offered her a piece of bread from Earth. Try this, he said. She did and smiled. It is strange, but good. They laughed quietly. Other cadets stared, surprised to see them together. After the meal, Jack led Varia to a practice field. The ground was dusty. He placed small targets around. We will add sound cues, he said. When you hear the buzzer, move to the next target. He pressed a button on his device and a low tone sounded. Varia closed her eyes and moved to the first marker. She felt the ground and found it. Jack marked her time. She repeated the motion for each of 4 markers. Each round, her time grew faster. He then blindfolded her. She stood at the center. Jack stepped back. He pressed the buzzer. Varia felt her heart pound. She heard the hum of his device. She took a step, then another, and found the next marker. She moved until she found all 4. Jack removed the blindfold. Varia gasped. I did it. I found every marker. Jack smiled. Yes, you did. Your body learned the space. You trusted your senses? She bowed to him. Over the next days, Jack taught Varia more drills. He introduced her to slow staff swings, then fast strikes. He had her dodge low-speed drone arrows before speeding them up. Varia grew stronger, faster, and more aware. Meanwhile, news of Jack's skill spread through the station. Cadets and trainers asked for lessons. Even the lead trainer invited Jack to give a demonstration. Jack agreed and set a time. On the day of the demonstration, the arena was full. Varia stood beside Jack. The lead trainer held the device. He spoke to the crowd. Today, we will see the next step. Human training meets our own techniques. Observe. He pressed the button. Targets lit up, shields lowered, and arrows fired automatically. Varia and Jack moved together. She matched his steps. They dodged arrows synchronized. Their movements were fluid and in harmony. The crowd watched in amazed silence. After the demonstration, cadets surrounded Jack and Varia. They asked questions. They wanted to practice the human drills. Jack and Varia agreed to host daily sessions. That night, Jack returned to his quarters. He found a small note on his bed. It was written in the alien script in English. Thank you for sharing your strength. Tomorrow we train at dawn. Varia, Jack smiled and folded the note carefully. He knew the work had just begun. On Serrano Station, humans and aliens would learn from each other. A new alliance was forming. Part 3. Tests and trust. Jack and Varia met at dawn beside the practice field. The air was cool and quiet. A light mist hovered above the ground. Jack carried his training mat and a few wooden staffs. Varia wore her light training clothes. She held a small water flask. Today we will work on reaction drills, Jack said. I will give you commands in a low voice. You must move without looking, Varia nodded. She stood at the center of the field. Jack took a position behind her. He held a short staff in each hand. Step forward now, he whispered. Varia obeyed. She stepped 1 pace. Jack placed a staff on the ground. Turn right, he said. Varia pivoted. Her feet found the new direction without pause. Jack continued the silent drill for several minutes. Each command sent Varia moving. She felt more confident. After a while, Jack spoke louder. Staff strike. He swung a staff toward Varia's side. Varia raised her arm and blocked it. She felt its light impact. Good, Jack said. You are improving. Varia let out a small laugh. I did not expect this from a human, she admitted. Your methods are strange but effective, Jack smiled. Humans learn to adapt. We use many senses. They practiced more drills. Jack introduced random commands. He told her to dodge, to block, and to step back. Varia followed each one. She moved. Like water. She felt the rhythm in her body. By midday, they rested under a shade. Varia drank water. Jack ate a small meal. Do you think the other cadets will accept this training? Varia asked. Jack thought. Some will resist. Others will follow if they see results. Lead by example. Varia stood. Then I will lead. She held out her hand. Jack shook it. Later they returned to the arena. A group of cadets gathered. The lead trainer watched with interest. A rival warrior, Selen, stood nearby. She wore dark armor and a scowl. Selen stepped forward. You waste your time with human drills. Humans are weak. She spat the words at Varia. Varia frowned but did not reply. She motioned to Jack. Show them. Again, Jack prepared the arrow turrets in the arena. He set the speed slow and safe. He tested one arrow. It fired gently and hit a target on the wall. Varia faced the cadets. Watch closely. This drill will improve your reflexes. Jack placed a blindfold over Varia's eyes. Selen laughed. This will be over quickly. The cadets joined her laughter. Jack pressed the button. The first arrow shot out. Varia moved and dodged it. She stepped aside and turned. 1 arrow, 2, 3. Varia continued through 12 arrows. She moved with grace and speed. Each arrow slid past her. When the final arrow passed, Jack removed her blindfold. Varia bowed. The cadets looked stunned. Selen's scowl deepened. A murmur rose among the crowd. Some cadets nodded in approval. Others looked at Selen. Selen stepped forward and pointed at Jack. This is a trick. He must slow the arrows. He has. The machine's hidden. She paced around the arena. Jack shook his head. No trick. I set the turrets. They fire at speed. You can see the settings. He pointed to the control panel. The lead trainer inspected it. He scanned the readouts. The speed matched the test speed. He raised his eyebrow. It is true, he said. The arrows fire at full speed. Your skill is real. Selen refused to believe it. She signaled the trainer. Raise the speed 2 levels, she demanded. The trainer adjusted the control. He pressed the button. Silver lines glowed along the turrets. This will show the weakness of humans, Selen said. Jack covered his mouth. He whispered to Varia. Be ready. Varia closed her eyes. The arrows fired. They came faster and louder. Varia hesitated at first. She felt the rush of air. Then she moved. She dodged each arrow with speed and focus. She bent her body and ducked. She leaped and twisted. One by one. The arrows passed. The 12th arrow came in a burst. Varia spun and landed softly. The arena fell silent. Even Selen stepped back. Varia opened her eyes. She saw the stunned faces of the cadets. She raised her hand to calm them. This is more than strength. She sighed. This is trust in your senses and practice in your mind. No machine can match our will. Her voice was calm but strong. Selen glared. She turned and stalked away. The lead trainer approached Jack and Varia. Your drills are impressive. I will include them in the training program. He bowed. The cadets cheered. They called for Varia and Jack to lead them in a new session. The rest of the day passed in practice. Jack and Varia taught staff drills, blindfold, runs, and reaction tests. The cadets followed eagerly. When the sun set, the practice field was quiet. Jack and Varia gathered their mats. You did well today, Jack said. Varia smiled. Together we are stronger, Jack nodded. Trust and respect. Make a strong bond. Varia looked at him. I never expected a human to teach me so much. Thank you, Jack. She bowed deeply. Jack bowed back. Thank you for your trust. Above them, Serrano Station glowed in the night. The stars reflected on its metal. A new chapter had begun for humans and aliens alike. Part 4. Challenge beyond practice. Days passed since the station-wide demonstration. Jack and Varia led early drills each morning. More cadets joined their sessions. The practice field grew crowded with warriors eager to learn human methods. 1. Evening. The lead trainer approached Jack and Varia. The trainer's scarred cheek looked serious under the station lights. "Jack, Varia," he said, "the council demands a final test. They will challenge you both. Succeed, and human drills become official. Fail, and we return to old ways." Varia's eyes narrowed. "What is this test?" she asked. "A joint mission to Varela's surface," the trainer explained. "A dangerous zone filled with hostile wildlife and rough terrain. You must retrieve a data module from an abandoned research outpost." Jack frowned. "It is far from the station." "The journey is risky." "Exactly," the trainer said. "They want to see how you work together and apply your training. You depart at dawn." That night, Jack returned to his quarters. Varia waited outside. She handed him a map of Varela's surface. "This is the route," she said. "We cross the high desert, then enter the canyon. The outpost stands on the far side." Jack studied the map. "There's a river crossing. The currents run strong." Varia nodded. "The wildlife there is dangerous. Some creatures can sense vibrations." Jack pointed to the river symbol. "We must move." Quietly, Varia placed her hand on his shoulder. "We will succeed together." At dawn, they boarded a small shuttle. The station doors opened, and the shuttle glided into orbit. Jack felt the hum of the engines. Varia checked her weapon and gear. "The council watches us," she whispered. Jack nodded. The shuttle broke through. The atmosphere, Varela's red skies filled the windows. Rock formations rose from vast plains. The shuttle descended. They landed on a rocky plateau. The engines cut off with a soft thud. Dust swirled around the landing pads. Jack and Varia stepped out. The air was thin. Jack activated his suit filters. Varia adjusted her armor. "Stay close and move silently," Jack said. Varia concurred. They followed a narrow path toward the canyon. The ground shifted under their boots. The desert was quiet except for distant rumbles. Suddenly, a pack of sand hounds appeared. Their bodies were lean, with long legs. Their eyes glowed faint red. They sniffed the air. Varia raised her spear. Jack raised a tranquilizer gun. He whispered, "Wait for my signal, then move." Varia nodded. Jack inhaled deeply and counted to 3. He fired a dart at the lead hound. It yelped and collapsed. The others snarled and lunged. Varia sprang into action. She charged forward and swung her spear. The alien weapon crackled with energy. She struck one hound on the shoulder. It howled and fell. Another hound leaped toward Jack. He sidestepped and fired another dart. It struck true. The creature stiffened and collapsed. Varia fought 2 more. Jack reloaded quickly and subdued the rest. The dust settled. The pack lay still. Varia exhaled. "We work well together," she said. Jack nodded. "Your strikes are precise, my shots are steady." They resumed their journey. The canyon walls grew taller. Shadows lengthened. A cool wind blew. They reached the river, crossing at dusk. The water roared. A narrow fallen log spanned the river. "We cross one at a time," Jack said. Varia moved first. She balanced on the log. She felt its rough surface under her boots. She inched across. Halfway, she slipped. Jack heard her cry. He closed his eyes. He sensed her fall. He stepped forward. He heard the log creak. He felt the wind. He dashed onto the log. He crouched low and moved quickly. He reached Varia and grabbed her arm. He pulled her up and steadied her. "Thank you," Varia said softly. Jack nodded and helped her stand. He followed her across. His suit hissed with each breath. He reached the other side safely. They set camp near the outpost entrance. The ruins stood silent under moonlight. Broken walls and twisted metal littered the ground. Jack guided Varia to a hidden hatch. They pried it open. Inside the outpost, darkness greeted them. Jack activated his suit light. The hall was narrow. They moved quietly. In the research lab, a data module sat on a console. Jack approached slowly. He heard a faint click. Varia raised her spear. "Trap?" she whispered. Jack nodded. He scanned the console. Small energy wires ran along the walls. He held his breath and reached for the module. He twisted it free. A siren blared. Energy fields sparked on both sides of the corridor. Varia drew the energy from her spear and lashed it at the wall. The barrier collapsed. Jack grabbed her hand and ran. They dashed through the halls as alarms echoed. Dust fell from the ceiling. At the hatch, they climbed out. The air burned with heat. They ran toward the shuttle's beacon. Creatures emerged. From the canyon, small, lizard-like beasts with sharp teeth. They charged. Varia raised her spear. Jack fired darts in quick succession. They fought back to back. Their movements were in sync. Jack felt his heart pound. He heard the creatures' screeches and the hum of his dart gun. He sensed their approach before he saw them. Various strikes were fierce. She knocked two beasts aside. Jack hit others in the neck. The creatures fell. They reached the shuttle. The engines roared to life. They lifted off just as the beasts swarmed the clearing. Inside, Jack and Varia collapsed near the door. Their breaths came heavy. Varia looked at Jack. "We did it. We worked." Together, Jack nodded. He handed her the data module. The shuttle rose through the red sky. Varela's surface receded below. Serrano Station awaited above. At the station dock, the council and cadets cheered. The lead trainer stepped forward. "Jack, Miller and Varia have succeeded in the council's test. Their teamwork proves human methods add value." The council bowed. Varia stepped forward. She held the data module high. "Humans and aliens can learn from each other. Together we grow stronger." Her voice echoed across the dock. Jack smiled. He stood beside her. A new era began on Serrano Station, one of unity and shared strength. Humans had earned respect, not by speed, but by trust, focus, and courage. Part 5. New Beginnings. The morning light filtered through the station's domed windows. Jack, Miller, and Varia stood together on the floating platform outside the training hall. They had just returned from the mission to Varela's surface. Their steps were steady as they watched the horizon. Cadets and trainers gathered around them. The lead trainer stepped forward and held a datapad. He cleared his throat. "By order of the council, human training methods are now part of our core program," he announced. "Jack Miller will serve as a master instructor. Varia will assist in integrating these drills into every academy." The crowd applauded. Jack felt a warmth in his chest. Varia's dark eyes shone with pride. After the ceremony, Jack and Varia walked through the station's corridors. Aliens of different kinds greeted them with respect. Some bowed. Others patted Jack on the shoulder. Varia led Jack to a training chamber. It was larger than the practice field. Walls of glass overlooked Varela's red skies. Inside, equipment for blind drills, staff practice, and reaction tests awaited. Jack ran his hand along a rack of wooden staffs. He smiled. "This will be our new home base," Varia said. "Cadets can train here any time." Jack nodded and picked up a staff. He closed his eyes and swung slowly. He felt the wood's weight and arc. He moved with calm focus. A soft hum echoed. As he practiced, Varia watched him. She held a datapad. On it, she recorded his movements and notes. She looked thoughtful. "We should start with the basics," Jack said. "Focus on space drills and staff arcs before adding speed." Varia nodded and tapped her pad. Outside, cadets waited in line. They whispered among themselves. Some were excited. Others looked uncertain. Jack opened his eyes and addressed the group. "Welcome. Today you learn to trust your body. Close your eyes and feel the space." He guided them to stand in a circle. One by one, he led each cadet through the corner-to-corner drill. The room was silent except for footsteps and soft breaths. Each cadet reached the opposite corner with surprising ease. Varia observed and smiled. She stepped forward. "Now, blindfold drills," she said. She handed each cadet a blindfold. Jack counted down. 3, 2, 1. The cadets tied the blindfolds and moved. Some stumbled. Others found their way smoothly. After several rounds, the cadets removed their blindfolds. They looked at each other in wonder. "You see?" Jack said. "You can do this." The cadets cheered and thanked him. Varia led the next drill. Staff swings with slow arcs. The cadets repeated her movements. She corrected their posture and stance. By midday, the room buzzed with energy. Cadets and instructors practiced together. Laughter and words of encouragement filled the air. In the mess hall, Jack and Varia shared a meal. Cadets approached them, seeking advice and sharing progress. Jack offered simple tips. Varia showed them notes on her pad. A young cadet, Tora, spoke up. "Sir, I still feel insecure blindfolded." Jack nodded. "Focus on your breathing," he said. "When you breathe in, think of your space. When you breathe out, move gently." He demonstrated slow breaths and steps. Tora followed and found her way. Varia smiled at Jack. She saw his patient teaching. That afternoon, the station's communication lines buzzed. A new message from Varela's council arrived. It requested peace talks and joint training exchanges. Varia showed Jack the holo message. "They want more human instructors on the surface," she said. Jack raised an eyebrow. "We will need a team," he said. "Train them here first." Varia agreed. In the following days, Jack and Varia assembled a small group of top cadets, both human and alien. They formed the exchange team. Each team member learned the drills. One evening, Jack and Varia stood on the observation deck. Serrano Station floated above the red planet. Stars dotted the sky. "We have come far," Varia said softly. Jack nodded. "We have proven humans have more than brute strength. We have focus, trust, and unity." Varia placed a hand on his arm. "Thank you, Jack. You showed me new ways." Jack smiled. He looked at the planet below. "This is just the beginning." Varia turned to him. "Then let us begin the next chapter." She extended her hand. Jack took it. Together they looked out at Varela and beyond. A bond of respect and friendship had formed. On Serrano Station, humans and aliens walked together into a new future. Above them, the station lights glowed softly. Inside every training chamber and arena, echoes of footsteps and staffs in motion signaled a new dawn for all species.